Hi. All right. Today I'm answering the move abroad and the remote work and the house sitting and the digital nomad and the sabbatical questions that you have been too afraid to ask, right? If you think you have a dumb question, today's the day, okay? If you think you have a question that is dumb or ridiculous, you've been afraid to ask it, you've been afraid to type it in the chat, you've been afraid to bring it up. Today's the day. Okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for dumb stuff today. I'm here for dumb stuff. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody? Hey, Desiree. Hello, Shanna. Hello, Chumani. Hey, Janine. Hi, Celeste. Good morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Suki. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Colette. Good morning, Alexandri. Started with a personal trainer. Oh, good luck. I don't know what to say. Like, good. I want to wish you the best in this endeavor with your new personal trainer. Hi, Joan. I hope you're doing well. Joan's recovering in Lake Chapala. Hi, Renee. Good morning, everybody. Oh, wait. Good morning, Ms. Dow. I see you up here. Good morning, Lucille. Good morning, Brenda. Good morning, Julie. Hey, Empty Nester. Good morning, Winnie. All right. Okay, so you can go ahead and get your dumb questions in the chat. Okay, I came prepared with a few questions that I think that I think I should answer that nobody ever asks. And I have a few questions that people ask that you may not think are dumb questions, right? So don't get offended if it's your question, but you didn't think it was a dumb question. Okay, don't get upset by the word dumb question. I just mean questions that you didn't ask yet, right? Right? I guess that, right? Didn't they used to say that in high school? The only dumb question is the question you don't ask. Good morning, friends. All right. Okay, so I think that we're going to cover today things like, can you drink the water in such a city? We're going to cover questions about periods, which is a thing that nobody ever asks. Welcome, Janine. Nobody ever asks about periods, but like I think we need to talk about periods abroad. So these are the types of things that we're going to cover today. I have on my eyebrow. I have two different, very distinct eyebrows. I have done one eyebrow halfway, it appears. And I have done the other eyebrow fully, it appears. Okay. Okay. I'm trying out a new lip gloss. Okay. I'm waiting for y'all to get your questions in. Okay. All right. Everybody good? I'm in exotic Dover, Delaware. And so that's what's it. That's all I have to tell you. That's all the update I have. What update do I have? I'm in Delaware. That's it. End of updates. Oh, let me introduce myself if you're new here. Hi, my name is Stephanie Perry. I am a year-round house sitter. I am the creator of House Sitter School, and I'm the co-creator of Exodus Summit. I help Black women embrace ease by taking a sabbatical, by house sitting, by moving abroad, by bopping around as a digital nomad, remote work digital nomad. If this sounds good to you, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and make sure that you turn on notifications. Ring that notification bell so that you will be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. Welcome. Hey, Alfreda. All right. Good morning, y'all. Okay. Make sure, can you guys take 1 second and hit the like button, please? Thank you. All right, so Devora has a question. Temporary and or permanent residents, do you pay taxes in Mexico? All right, good question. So this applies to not only Mexico, but I don't know about most, but quite a few places. If you go to this place as a tourist, you are expected not to be earning money while you're there, right? So that's why we go to these places and you probably get a 90-day cutoff. If with a U.S. passport, a lot of the world gives you a 90-day cutoff. Some places 60 days, some places 180 days, right? But most places with a U.S. passport, as a tourist, you can come in, stay for 90 days as long as you're not earning money. If you want to earn money and or if you want to stay for more than 90 days, you need to get residency, okay? Either temporary residency or permanent residency. Temporary residency in most places is a year, okay? So this is what Devore is asking. If you have residency, temporary residency or permanent residency, do you pay taxes in Mexico? No. You pay taxes in the U.S., in your home country. There's a thing called a tax treaty that the U.S. has with countries. I don't know about most, but some countries. So that if you're a resident of another country, you're an American passport holder, you're an American, you have residency in Mexico, okay? You pay taxes in the US, you're not expected to file taxes in Mexico, okay? This is a country by country thing, but I think that that is probably the more common way it's done, right? You pay taxes in your home country. You're a resident. Most people on that Mexican residency visa are not allowed to work. Actually, I don't know. Disregard that. Yeah, you're not allowed to work in Mexico on certain visas that you enter the country in, like retiree visas and stuff. You're not allowed to work in that country. They're expected that you're not earning money in that country. Their expectation is that you are earning money either in your home country or online somewhere, but you're not setting up shop in Mexico and earning money. Okay. If you are setting up shop and earning money in Mexico, you probably have a different type of residency, and then they'll tell you what to do. Okay. But if you're going on the residency visa that like Adelia and Rashida have, the expectation is that you are there not earning money in Mexico, that you're earning money online or back home somewhere or somewhere else. Okay. So good question. Do you pay taxes in Mexico? No. You file taxes in the US and pay taxes into the US. You're not, no, they're not double dipping. I'm sure there are countries that require you to double dip, that require you to file in both places. I'm sure there are. And remember, if you're working in that country, like if you're teaching at an international school in that country, then different situation, right? I don't know what they do. So we know Nicole Brewer, and we know some women who teach internationally. I don't know what they do, frankly. Okay, so this does not apply to if you have a job in that country. Okay, this is if you're earning money, but you're not earning money in that country working. Like you don't have a barbershop in Mexico, right? Okay, RM says in Europe, all residents pay taxes on your worldwide income. There are tax treaties, etc., that will often avoid double taxation. Yes. Okay. Yes. So it depends on the country you're going to and what the U.S. has agreed with them on. What is the tax treaty for your individual country? So you'll want to look that up. What is the tax agreement with this country? Very specific information. Okay. I want to plug the Work From Anywhere toolkit while we're here. Okay, the Work From Anywhere toolkit has information on Rashida and I, who is Sheeta's on the Loose. We are the hosts. We are the creators of Exodus Summit. We hosted Getting Residency Abroad workshops on actually getting residency in Mexico, one in Portugal, a workshop in France. Right, getting residency in either Mexico or Portugal or France. And if you get the Work From Anywhere toolkit, you will get access to copy. You will see how to buy a workshop on getting residency abroad. Okay. All of that to say, if you're interested in residency abroad, working either online, remotely, whatever, and getting residency abroad, download the Work From Anywhere toolkit at exodushomecoming.com/toolkit. Do that. And then register for one of the workshops if you're interested in one of those countries, Portugal, France, or Mexico. Adelia. Hi. Adelia is Picky Girl Travels the World, and she taught in Honduras, Kuwait, and China. Neither Honduras or Kuwait taxed my teaching income, but China did. Okay. All right. Thanks, Adelia. Good morning. It's Latasha. Question, can you apply for a visa when you arrive to a country, or does it have to be far in advance? Most of the time, if you want this residency visa, temporary or permanent residency in another country, most of those countries require you to apply for that out of the country. You don't necessarily need to be in your home country, but you need to be in another country. So most of the time you have to start it ahead of time, and then you complete the process once you arrive in that country. So I learned during the workshops for Mexico, Portugal, and France, right? You start it in the U.S. Once you fly in, you have so many days after they approve you to fly into the country or to arrive in the country. And then once you arrive in, you have to complete the process in an office there. okay? But it does have to be started in advance. So if you get somewhere and you decide that you really like it and you want to apply for residency, you probably will need to leave. But you may not need to go home, right? Can you go to the next country and start the process there? It depends on the language situation, right? If you can't speak the language in the next country and you don't have anybody to help you, it might be more complicated. It might be worth coming back home. But if you're in Mexico, is it worthwhile to go to Belize and start the process? I don't know. The answer is I don't know. That's a question, though, that you may want to ask yourself. Okay. Hey, Jessica. Stephanie, I want to move to Vietnam. Does anyone know of an easier way to stay there for longer than 30 days without having to get a work permit? I think Vietnam let me stay for 60 days. That's not much longer. I'm pretty sure my visa to Vietnam was for 60 days. I went in 2015 I arrived maybe 2016, early 2016. But no, I don't know of any longer way to stay there. I don't know that Vietnam is a place where you can move to. Some places people say they move to, they've actually they're there on tourist visas and then they leave and then they get another tourist visa and come back, right? They just bop to. I'm trying to think of who do I know who spent significant time there, like more than 60 days. There's got to be. They must have some sort of Google it, Jessica. They must have some sort of digital nomad visa because it was before COVID, a very popular spot for digital nomads to spend significant time. I don't know. The answer is I don't know. Someone here may know that. F Doctor. So if anyone knows any info about Vietnam, holler at Latasha in the comments. F Doctor, what is the likelihood that you can work in other industries aside from teaching or remote work in another country as a foreigner? Not that good. Not that good. For the most part, you're going to want to have online income or investment income or something like that. Especially if you're talking about going to a country with a very low cost of living, right? You can get a job in Mexico or Panama, but what are they going to pay you? Yeah. So not very, the chances aren't very good. I would say probably if you want to work for the U.S. government, you could work at like an embassy or a consulate somewhere. Most of us are not moving abroad by getting a job abroad. Mostly it's I have a job and I can be wherever I want while I'm doing that job, right? That is why remote work is the key. So get the Work From Anywhere toolkit. Anyone who is looking for remote work, get the Work From Anywhere toolkit at exodussummit.com/toolkit to get some resources to find remote work that does not care what country you're in, right? Because there's a difference between remote work and remote work that lets you be anywhere. Some people are remote, but they have to be in their home, right? It's still called remote, but you have to be in your home because they're sending you equipment, or you have to be in the state for security reasons, right? So you want remote work that lets you be truly remote. I would say not very good. Let me think about what else people are doing in terms of a job. Like, so most people are just running some sort of business that lets them be wherever, right? That's what I do. Yeah, I can't think of a job that you will want to get in another country. Yeah, I can't think of any. Well, so I'm never going to be the job resource anyway, but I can't think of anything. For the most part, we're talking about income, rental property, right? Investment income, alimony. I'm going to say it again. People don't like that when I say it, but I don't care. Income. We're talking income. We're not talking getting a job in another country. I have YouTube income, right? So my YouTube channel supports me. I'm a coach. My coaching income supports me. I'm not worried about looking for a job. And I'm not going to be the person to go to find info on getting a job in another country. Because it frankly doesn't sound that good. It doesn't sound very appealing. Because like I said, if you're going to a country with a low cost of living, they have a low cost of living. The pay is going to be low. Okay. All right. L. Davis, is it safe to eat raw fruits and vegetables in Mexico? What are they washed in? Hi, Al Davis. I think you're a new face. Welcome. I would say you're probably going to find them more safe than in the US. In Mexico, they don't seem to be too obsessed with um, the productivity of farms. You know what I mean? Like the food, it's not like, oh, everything is like super engineered. In Mexico, it's just like a real tomato. It's real blackberries. You're gonna buy the blackberries. They are real blackberries. They're not like those humongous foot long blackberries. They're like, this is the way it comes out of the ground, this is the way you will get it. We're not gonna worry about spraying it with all kind of stuff and doing all kind of stuff to try to make it bigger. In the U.S., there's like an obsession with bigger fruits and vegetables, and no care, no concern at all about what they taste like. That's my opinion. Okay, so you're going to find probably more easier access to organic fruits and vegetables. What are they washed in? I don't know. I don't know about that, but so I don't have an answer for that. This is you asking your questions. This is not me having answers for all of your questions. I don't know what they're washed in, but I know that you're gonna have easier access to organic fruits and vegetables in Mexico. Uh, like less expensive because here the default is it's not organic. There some things the default is like we have not sprayed this down with a whole bunch of stuff. But you're always gonna wash it. Wash it. Yeah, that's a good question, but I don't have an answer. Winnie B, I'm 50 plus, going for my master's and probably doctorate. Can I still qualify for a student visa? In some countries, no, but in some countries, yes. Okay, so again, depends. Depends on where you're going. We learned from Latrice, who did the workshop on getting residency in France, that the student visa is not connected to an age and it's not connected to a university program, right? The student visa can be, I'm going to study French at a language school, not a traditional university, right? So it depends. Okay, sorry, Winnie, but it really depends on where you're interested in going and what you're interested in studying. Each country will have their own requirements or have their own student visa requirements. Same thing with the retirement visa. Some places call it a retirement visa and they want you to be retirement age. Some places call it a retirement visa. They don't care how old you are. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you're 30. If you have the income, you can come in on a retirement visa. Hi, Simi. I'm concerned about the rising cost of living, overall economic crisis. In terms of safety, security, you'll always be able to return to the U.S. Yes, yeah, yeah. We're not talking about surrendering your U.S. citizenship. You'll always be able to return to the U.S. Christine says she believes you can start the residency process in Panama for Panama. So again, you're going to have to look at where you're looking at going and find out what their rules are. Jessica says Vietnam changed during the pandemic. Yeah, yeah, yes. A lot of countries changed their requirements during the pandemic. Yes. So I don't know any other route to Vietnam. I don't know any other route. Hi, Janae wants to know about the Dominican Republic. No info on the Dominican Republic. Jessica says there's no digital nomad visa in Vietnam yet. Okay, okay. The empty nester, planning to travel to Mexico City for my very first international trip. I'm concerned about the food that is cooked in water like ramen. How do we know if the water is filtered? Once the water is heated, it's okay. It's safe. In Mexico, the problem isn't necessarily the water. So I mean, like the water in a lot, like the water in Mexico is probably not where you live. You probably don't drink the water out of the tap either, is what I'm saying, right? Where you live, you probably don't drink tap water either, but you probably cook with tap water, right? So same in Mexico. Uh, ice in a lot of places is the problem, not the cooked food. I have not had problems with water in Mexico. The thing that took me out was salsa. Salsa, which was probably cut. I went to a restaurant. The salsa was probably chopped on a chopping board with right after some raw meat or something. I had some salsa take me out, y'all. I mean, like, are these my last days that salsa did me in? The water in Mexico is not like you're going to drink it out of the faucet, but you're probably not doing that here. So it's probably not a huge concern. Seriously, I would say the water in Mexico is not a huge concern. If you're cooking with it, once it boils, it's good to go. If you're drinking it, you're probably drinking filtered water from the bottle, like bottled water, or from the refrigerator filter, or from the sink filter. The real problem is ice, right? But I've never had a problem with ice in Mexico either. I've never had ice take me out. uh, so it's yeah. You're going to navigate that the same way you navigate it at home in the U.S., at restaurants in the U.S., right? If you were going to a restaurant in the U.S., what would your concern be? You want to make sure that they're not giving you tap water to drink. Other than that, I don't think water is a concern. I don't think it is a concern. Drink bottled water, drink filtered water, cook with tap water, no problem cooking with tap water. Yeah, no problem. When I house sat for a family in Mexico, my very first time in Mexico was for a house sit. And they gave me bottled water in the bathroom for brushing my teeth. And so I was like really nervous, like, oh my gosh, I can't like touch the water. And then eventually I was like, I don't know, is it that bad? And then I just quit using bottled water to brush my teeth. They said that that's like the entryway. Like that is the way that people usually get started in Mexico. Let's start by using bottled water for everything, and then we relax into it after a few days. I don't know. I haven't found water to be a big problem there. Carla says, is the Mexico City airport the best option to get your COVID test? So they do at-home testing. I did not have good luck with the at-home testing. So I went through the company called something. I, I went online, found the company, one of the bigger COVID testing companies that had locations and at-home testing. And I used both of them. The at-home testing people just didn't show up. It was a busy COVID time, right? I was there over the winter, this past winter. So the at-home testing, they just didn't show up. Rashida had them come to her home, and they did the at-home testing, no problem. Is the airport a good option? I was down there December and January, and the airport was not a good option. I was told that was not the best route, but things changed based on COVID, right? How strong COVID is at the moment, right? Uh, Anybody in Mexico City have a better answer than I don't know. Um, when I was there, the airport was not the best option. I was advised not to wait to get my test at the airport. Because you need your test within 24 hours of flying back to the U.S. or within one day. They don't say 24 hours. Within one day of flying back to the U.S., I was told to have my test before I got to the airport. That was just January. I got there in December and was leaving in January. Do other countries have storage units like in the U.S.? Some. I've seen them in Mexico, and I even saw them in, what's it called? Curacao in the Caribbean. But you don't see as many. You don't see them as prevalent and taking up prime real estate like you do in the U.S. Australia, I saw storage units in Australia. And they make fun of Americans for having so much stuff, but they have just as much stuff. But not every place. Not every place. And not as prevalent. Yeah, I talked about the job situation. Stephanie says, or work for a multinational company, work for a company that has spots in different countries, right? Work for a company that you know would move you to another country, or would hire you for a job in another country. All right, all right. Hi, Lauren. Could I do a video on the best countries to move to that have good health care? This is a big concern of mine. I've heard a lot of bad stories, especially in emergency situations. I think that would be too much. It would be too many countries. I don't think it would be worth it to do a video on good healthcare. I think what people need to learn to do is find the good hospitals in your city. When you move abroad to a city, right, there are tiers of healthcare, tiers of hospitals that we're not necessarily used to in the US, right? For the most part in the US, except for like Grady Memorial in Atlanta, if you go to a hospital, you're probably gonna make it, right? And most most hospitals in the US are gonna give you good healthcare. But in parts of the world, that's not the case. So the concern isn't, I think the concern isn't necessarily where can I get good health care and where can I not. I think in most of the world, you're going to get good health care. The concern is how do I get to the good hospitals with the good health care, right? You need to make sure that you have some sort of private medical insurance, right? Or a way to pay, or access to a credit card or something, access to some money to pay your bill. Rather than good healthcare in emergency situations. Yeah, what you want is just to get to the private hospital, the hospital with the good care. In most places, you're gonna find that there isn't. Every place has rich people and poor people. Some people don't have middle class, but every country has rich people and poor people, right? You want to get to the rich people hospital. That's the differentiator, right? If you live in Atlanta, does that Grady Memorial make sense to you? That Grady example, right? That in a lot of the world, the differentiator is not necessarily do they have good health care or not, but how do I get access to the rich people hospital, right? Which is probably private insurance, knowing the name of the hospital, telling the people where to take you when it's time for you to get to the hospital. Or if we're not talking about emergency situations and just regular healthcare, right? Who can I communicate with? Where can I find healthcare providers that I can communicate with, right? If it's going to be a language barrier, you need to find the people you need to find the English speakers or find access to someone who can help you communicate in that language. I think, Lauren, I really don't know that you're going to find of the places that you want to move to, right? I mean, there are countries with poor healthcare, but ain't nobody moving to, I would guess, Venezuela, right? Venezuela is collapsing right before our eyes. Ain't nobody trying to move to Venezuela. Side note, I did watch a YouTube video from a woman who called herself a travel coach, okay? And this is why I want to talk about this really quickly. Off topic. I'm going off topic, y'all, okay? I get some comments about how long my videos are and how long-winded I am, even in my pre-recorded videos, right? But some things need context. So I watched a video from a woman talking about countries to visit, not move to, but countries to travel to. And one of her criteria was how much the dollar converts to in their money, right? Which doesn't make sense because just because a dollar is, I don't even know, a dollar is 20 pesos doesn't mean that you can get 20 candy bars in Mexico, right? You know what I mean? It's not like $1 is 20 pesos, so the dollar is 20 times stronger than the peso. That's not how it works, right? So her reasoning led her to the number one country on her list being Venezuela. Because a US dollar is like 100,000 or a million Venezuelan bolivar. Right? Things need context. So this is why I'm talking to y'all, and you already know that because you're here for a live stream. So you already understand that. But this is why I explain things so much. Because sure, you could just do a list. Let's look at who has $1 gets me the most of their currency. Sure. Okay, go to Venezuela. You're not going to eat. There's no food. They're in line for food. Do you want to stand in line just to get toilet paper on your vacation? Right? So I don't even remember how I got there to circle back to you, Lauren. But in context, I would say that more important than who has good health care, a lot of people have good health care. If they have rich people in that country, they have good health care. Okay? I would say more important than good health care is how do I find the good hospital in that place? And then how do I make sure that I can get access if I'm there? And that's probably just private insurance. And I haven't talked to a woman on this channel yet who has a private insurance policy that she pays more than $1,500 for a year. $1,500 a year for private insurance. I've spoken to women about their insurance in Portugal and Mexico, Portugal again, France. Latrice, I don't even know if she actually has to pay. I don't know. She probably does have to pay something, right? So that this is what you want. You want the insurance that will cover you, and you want the good hospital. I hear lots of stuff in the chat, so let's see. Did I answer this question right? Yes, there were. It was terrible. It was to the point that I commented, this list is dangerous. How dare you call you? I didn't say this second part, but how dare she call herself a travel coach? Right? Like, how dare you? I was insulted, offended. I said, that was my comment. And I have a blue check mark. I'm verified on YouTube. So my comments rise to the top. So I put on there, right? Which is why I don't comment on a lot of stuff because I don't know. I just don't. But my comment is going to rise to the top. And that's what I said. This list is dangerous, right? Like, why? Things need context, right? Things need context. So yes, we need context about why $1 will get you a million Venezuelan bolivar. We need context on these things. Yes, which countries has the most rich people, right? I know you're joking, but like seriously, we want to look at the you also do want to look at, especially if you're going to live somewhere, you're going to look at like how much am I going to stand out? How rich am I on this scale, right? If I'm moving to a place where I can afford a $3,000 per month apartment, okay, right? If I'm moving to live well, I want a $3,000, which in some parts of the world is well. I just looked at Airbnbs in Costa Rica, in San Jose, Costa Rica, in Panama City, and in Medellin, Colombia, right? $3,000 a month will get you a fly apartment, okay? So on an Airbnb, not even an apartment, just a short-term rental, not even a long-term rental, right? But how much is this going to make me stand out? Is this a city where this is pretty common? Or is this a city where I am going to be, I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb? Yeah, right? In some of Latin America, you'd be surprised how common it is for people to have good money, or maybe not surprised, right? We've already talked about how there are rich people in Mexico City, right? No matter, I don't think you could spend enough money in Mexico City to stand out as a target, right? There's money in Mexico City. And so we want to look at these things. We want to take a look at like, yeah, is this amount that I'm spending going to stand out? $3,000 a month in Curacao is chump change. I struggled to find $3,000 a month Airbnbs. Everything was much more than $8,000. You needed $8,000 a month to just be normal in Curacao. You probably need to get over $30,000 a month to stand out in Curacao in your your accommodation, right? So yeah, how much am I going to stand out, and is that going to be a concern to me? In some of these places, that's nothing, and including places like Medellin, right? There's money there, just because there are also there's not a lot of the world does not have middle class, which is something that we're not used to seeing. I'm really off topic. I'm supposed to answer your questions. A lot of the world does not have a middle class. That is that is kind of surprising and jarring. Okay, let me get back. Altagracia, Miranda, hola, buenos dias. Google Translator does an immediate translation from English to Spanish. Technology is very user-friendly. I use this all the time, all the time. Between Google translating and just like gesturing. Yes, yes, it's a wonderful time to be a traveler. It's a wonderful time to be abroad. Technology makes things so much easier, right? You need a SIM card. Another question people don't ask enough, okay? You need a SIM card. In the country, don't rely on being Wi-Fi only in some places. In Curacao, you can't be Wi-Fi only. Now, in Mexico City and Guadalajara, maybe, because every restaurant is going to have free Wi-Fi and every whatever, right? Some cities just have free Wi-Fi. In Vietnam, just the city, Hoi An, just out in Hoi An, they have free Wi-Fi. But in most places, I would want to make sure that I had data. So I would make sure that I had a SIM card. So when you land in the airport, you just walk over to the cell phone kiosk. They usually make it very obvious. This is a cell phone kiosk. You don't even have to speak the language. You just hand them your phone. They'll usually have a little poster or board or something. You just point at the plan you want. If you know you're going to be there for 30 days, pick the 30-day plan. Simple, right? Hand them your phone. Most of the time, they will do all of it for you. Take out your SIM card, hand it to you, put it someplace safe, put your SIM card in for you. Now, you have data in that country. You also have a different phone number. But if the phone number doesn't matter to you, then this is the route. I'm still traveling on a Google Fi SIM card. You can't see that, but I do. And it says it up there. But Google Fi has either changed restrictions or just been more, has been enforcing them more. So they've told me that I can't use them to be abroad long term. I have to primarily, is the wording they used, primarily use the SIM card in the US, and then it'll work when I'm abroad. So I was in Curacao for 3 months. After 2 months, sometime after 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, they cut me off. They were like, no more data. You need to be back in the US before you'll have data. The second I landed back in the US, I had data again. So I'm still looking for a good international solution that doesn't require me to get a different SIM card in every country. For me, the problem is that I run a business. And every time I use PayPal, they say, okay, we sent you a verification code. Now, what is it? So I need that SIM card. Adelia has a phone with 2 SIM cards. She has a dual SIM phone. I don't care about that. I will never, ever, ever stop using Apple products. If the MacBook still exists, as long as the Apple laptop still exists, I will never stop using Apple products. I cannot imagine having to use a Windows computer. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. After after switching over to this MacBook, or not this MacBook, I've been on Apple for a while. After switching, I can't imagine going back to using a Windows computer. So, and I like my computer and my phone to be able to talk to each other. So, a dual SIM card phone is not a good workable solution for me. I would rather have 2 SIM cards. I would rather take my SIM card out, hold it in a little pill box, and use the other country's SIM card than have to use a Windows computer. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Fun fact about me. But a solution would be a dual SIM phone, or getting a SIM card in the other country, or using the Google Fi SIM card until they cut you off, which is what I do. All right, all right. How do you know if someone is an actual travel coach? Child, I don't know. I guess you need to find out if they're advising you to go to Venezuela or not. I don't know. We need discernment. Rashida did a live stream about discernment a while ago, and I can't stop thinking about it. Discernment, it is not, it's missing, it's lacking. We're lacking discernment. Because the one wonderful thing about YouTube, wonderful thing about the internet, is it gives everyone a chance to say what they have to say. But that's also the downfall, right? That's the wonderful part of it. I get to live my dreams because of YouTube, right? My YouTube channel pays me. I've been very open about this. My YouTube channel, I average $3,800 per month in YouTube ad revenue alone, right? So I get to be wherever, right? Because of YouTube, but it also means so do other people. Other people get to be, and it's why I think you should be on YouTube. If you have something to say, I think you should have a YouTube channel, because the people who don't have anything to say are on YouTube, and we can drown them out. So I don't know if someone's an actual travel coach. You need to listen to what they're saying and use your discernment. Use referrals, right? It's why you're not going to see people on my YouTube channel that I don't know about. Like, I don't know. Except for last Sunday, it worked out well. It worked out in my favor. Sharon came on the channel. I didn't know Sharon. And she came on and interviewed me. And didn't she do an amazing job? Didn't she? Right? Now I'm trying to remember. Sharon's channel is A Fit Life Center. A Fit Life Center. Am I right about this, Sharon? Or somebody? Yes. Okay. So I would say referrals. And I was, or just do a lot of diving into their content. Does this really make sense? But referrals and word of mouth is probably the easiest way to make sure you're landing with the right people, right? If somebody's talking on my channel, I know either I know them, right? I've had a lot of people on my channel who I just know, or I have done some digging and some researching, or they have been referred to me by somebody I trust. Yes, I was like, girl, the whole video. So the video, I mean, it got worse. It didn't start off good, right? But it got worse and worse progressively. And then the Venezuela, I couldn't hold my peace because that could get somebody killed, right? I can't imagine landing in Venezuela looking like a tourist and being safe. We talk about safety a lot and how a lot of the world is safe, but a country that's actively collapsing economically, not a safe place to land. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that. Any. That's easy. That's easy. That's an easy answer. Yeah. Oh, bless her. Halisi says my Spanish tutor is Venezuelan and she's trying to get back to Colombia. Bless her. Yeah, that's very scary. It's important to have access to another country. I don't think I'll finish this year out without having residency somewhere. I still haven't decided. It's not like you. So my thing is, my concern, two major concerns with residency abroad. Number one, if you get residency in Portugal, you need to spend a lot of your days of the year in Portugal, right? You can't get residency in Portugal and then just leave and show up whenever you feel like it, right? Portugal has a day count when you have that D7 visa. So that's why don't just pull the trigger, even though I love Portugal, right? So I thought maybe Curacao, but Curacao, it was nice. It was beautiful. Not nice. It's beautiful, but I need access to some things that I didn't have access to in Curacao, like shopping. Like seriously, I just need to be able to know, like, oh, I need a pair of pants. I can go buy a pair of pants. Curaçao's not a place where you can just go buy a pair of pants. Like seriously, you want some, unless you want some polyester, like, you know, workout wear. I couldn't even find a woman who made clothes. I couldn't even find a person to make me stuff in Curacao. The island is tiny. There's no like department stores. There's no like chain stores like Zara or H&M, right? I want some pants. I cannot buy some pants or a pair of shorts. Really what I was looking for was a pair of shorts. Couldn't find them. So Curacao didn't really work. So now Costa Rica is climbing up my list. And I would like to get to Costa Rica again before I start the process. However, I don't know that it's necessary because Costa Rica is a country that doesn't care how long you stay. You can get residency in Costa Rica and then just peace out. Come back once a year is their requirement. You need to enter Costa Rica at least once a year. I can do that. So I would like to get to Costa Rica sometime this summer and then start the residency process because the adoption process is going to require me to have residency first. I need a home. I need a home before I can adopt, and I can't get a home until I get residency. And anyway, it's a chain of events. So, but I do think it's important for us to get access to another country, right? I think it's important for us to have another country who will take us in, right? Because who knows? I just rewatched Jay Freedom's interview. Jay Freedom is the author of We Out, The Blueprint, Ending Our Abusive Relationship with America. Okay, so the Exodus Summit YouTube channel is, that's us. The Exodus Summit YouTube channel just published Jamie's interview from, I'm going to say August or September 2020, before the latest election. And she said, if he doesn't win the election, he's not going to surrender, right? And he's putting up extra barricades around the White House and all of this stuff, right? So what she predicted did come true, okay? And what she also predicted is it's not going to get any better. So I do think it's important for us to have access to another country. I think we need another country to take us in. So that's what I'm working on. Thank you. Leslie says she appreciates the context and details. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Yeah, the IUN is required. It's required. We need it, right? You could just come up with a list of anything and then be like, oh, that's a good place to go. Lala, a friend of mine bought a condo in Bogota. How do they like it? And are they a Black or brown person? So we hear Black people primarily going to Medellin, Colombia. Is that on purpose? Is that because that's the only Black-friendly city? I'm curious about that. I need to talk to somebody about that. Okay, Constance is supporting Grady Memorial Hospital. If you work there, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize for insulting your hospital. But listen, I went to Spelman College in 1992. That was the reputation at that time. I'm just telling you that, and it's still, and I still saw. Every now and then I'll see it pop up in the news. I'm like, yeah, some things don't change. Grady does have a one. Okay, level 1 trauma center. Okay, depends on what happened. You might want to go there. Okay, thank you, Constance. Natural Bay, I heard $800 for braces in Jamaica. I don't know how true that is. Sounds right to me. Uh, Medical tourism is a thing. People do leave the United States and Canada sometimes. Canada has free healthcare, but there's a long wait, right? People do leave the US and Canada to get healthcare in other countries. Mexico, I know, right? But I would guess the Caribbean as well. I would guess in the Caribbean you have access to some of your doctors in the US were trained in the Caribbean, right? We always think about going places where the doctors were trained in the US and Canada, but the real story is that a lot of US doctors are trained in the Caribbean. So I would guess, right, in the Caribbean you could get access to quality health care in some parts of the Caribbean for less. Yeah, so medical tourism is a thing. We see people going for um, dental work in general, like dental work. My mom and I met a man who had back surgery, some kind of back fusion surgery, spinal something in Mexico, and he was walking a few days later, right? Americans go for major work abroad. So yes, it sounds right. I'm not saying yes, I know for a fact, but that sounds right. Sounds right to me, right? It might be cheaper for you to to go to your appointments in Jamaica than to get braces in the US. It might be cheaper. I don't know. How often do you need to go back? Questions, right? Questions you need to figure out. How often would you need to go back? I fully intend to have some like cosmetic surgery. I want eyelid surgery done. And I think I also want that plasma pen, right? Yeah, and I wouldn't pay for it in the US. I wouldn't pay for it, right? Talking about adoption, I watched a video about a family who used surrogates, and they had a surrogate in the United States, and they had twins, right? She carried twins for them, and it cost them $125,000. And all I could think was, man, I could probably do that for about 50K in Costa Rica, right? Like I could I could in Costa Rica, I could probably, if I could get an embryo. I don't know if I figured that part out. I don't know if I figured out the embryo part because they got the embryo. They were men, so they got the embryo and the surrogate and the legal stuff for $125,000. And I was like, I could go to Costa Rica. I could probably come home with a baby for 50K. Yes. Yeah. Jessica said she dated a quote unquote middle class man in Mexico City and he had crazy money. Yeah. There are places where there are financial extremes, there are money extremes. Okay, back on topic. Auntie Trey, when moving abroad, is it best to get a long-term rental prior to the move and then decide on where to settle down? Oh, yes. Long-term meaning medium term. Yes. Yes. Not long-term as in a year. We're not signing a 6-month or a year lease or putting money down for a 6-month or a year place before we get someplace. But yeah, a few weeks. Get a place for a few weeks and then pick once you get there. Especially if you're going to a place you've never visited. If you've never visited, you need to check out that neighborhood. You need to see what that neighborhood is like. Are you going to like it? It's really important, right? Yeah, it's really important. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. Get a rental. I want to cross out the word long term. I wish I could cross out long term rental. I would get a few weeks, however long you feel comfortable with, because and then know that you can extend, right? I'd probably get a 3 or 4 week Airbnb, knowing that if I don't find a place in that amount of time, I can extend, but that's enough time to find a good place and get it figured out, right? Yes, you want to get to the place um, before you book your year lease, right? Your long-term place. You want to get there and do it. Number one, it's just going to be cheaper for you. When you're in America negotiating things in another country, they're always going to charge you the foreigner price. You're always getting the foreigner tax. If you get somewhere and you have friends there because you've joined Facebook communities there and you know some people who know some people, you could get closer to the local pricing. Second, scammers be scamming and you just don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know yet. You can get somewhere and just get totally, or you could try to do the transaction from the US and just get totally scammed. I don't want to see that for you. I don't want to see that for me. So if you're moving somewhere, get yourself an Airbnb for a few weeks. Go there, check out different, or you can get 2 or 3 Airbnbs so you can check out 2 or 3 different neighborhoods if people like a couple of different places. My priorities are not your priorities, right? And then go from there. Always join communities for expats wherever you go. They're really helpful. They know things. They know things and they know people. Join a community for expats and then join just the local like apartment hunting community. There probably is a local apartment Facebook community. A lot of that is done on Facebook now. So there's probably a Facebook community for apartments in that area. It's probably going to be in that language. You know, you're going to need some help. You're going to need some Google Translate to help you. And some friends, make some friends. But yes, I can't imagine doing it the other way. We talked to Asia Rutledge for Exodus Summit, and she had already lived in Mexico. She moved back to Atlanta, and then she moved to Mexico again, and she got an apartment site on sight unseen. And she said, I would never recommend anybody else do this, right? Huge risk. It's a huge risk. You just have to be able to risk. If you're going to get an apartment in another place before you've been to that place while you're in the US, you just have to be able to say, if I lose all of this money, I lose all this money, right? You have to be able to risk all that money. If you can't risk all that money, then just wait. Wait till you get there. There are places to live. If people live there, there are places to live there. So yeah, that's my advice. All right. Hey, Sashana, how do I deal with transitioning from one country to the other? I feel it's even more intimidating than moving from America for the first time. I think it's probably the opposite, Shoshana, because there's less riding on it. If you know you're going to bop around to a few different countries, there's less pressure. If you don't like it, you can leave. If you're bopping around, you probably have less stuff with you. So moving to the next country is going to be less of a problem, right? Packing 2 suitcases is easier than packing up a whole apartment. And you don't have to deal with residency probably. If you're bopping around for a while, you're probably just staying in places as long as the tourist visa will let you. That makes that easier. Intimidating. What do you want to say? Do you want to tell us exactly what you mean is intimidating about it? Am I not hitting on the points? Because I don't want you to leave here still thinking that it's more intimidating if we can help alleviate that. Because I really do think it's easier. And I think more people should enjoy some time to bop. We have done the responsible life, right? We have lived the life of being the responsible person and paying the mortgage or the rent or whatever, doing the gardening and cutting the grass. I want more of us to be able to just be free to float when you feel like it. Oh, so-and-so said she's going to Rwanda and I haven't seen Rwanda, so I'm just going to book a ticket and go, right? Like freedom, like real freedom, okay? Not being tied down to a place, a property, being tied down to a job, being tied down to a property. Those are things that you don't have to have. I know we're told that we have to have those things. We have to be tied. We have to have that, right? Got to have roots. I don't think so. I don't think so. So I would like to see more people not doing it. That's another comment I got a few days ago, that it's not realistic for seniors, for older people to bop around. And I'm like, yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it now more than ever. House sitting. I'm a house sitter, so I know old people who are bopping around. Maybe you don't know old people, and don't get upset by the term old people. There are old people. There are young people. There are old people. Okay? I know old people who are bopping around. I think 80 makes you an old person. Okay? Doesn't mean you're worthless and useless. If you associate that with old, that's your fault. That's your business. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is old people. There are old people, 80-year-old people bopping around the globe. I know that because of house sitting. I see them. we're untrusted house sitters together. So yeah, I think freedom, Sashana. I think that understanding that you're not tied to a place and you can just go. I think that is freedom. Let's see. I'm looking to see if you left another reply to why you think it's more intimidating. Yeah, there's less to do. There's less to figure out, right? We just talked about how do you find a long-term apartment and all that. Psh, you don't have to. If you just bop, if you know my tourist visa says I can stay here for 90 days, I'm here for 90 days. Pressure is off. You can go places, even places that you're not sure if you're going to love, right? When you're moving someplace, you want to try to make sure you're at least going to really, really like it, right? If you're just bopping there, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. You may end up falling in love with it. You may end up hating it. Either way, you're not stuck. So, Shauna, I literally have to pack 2 suitcases and leave. Okay. I just think I'm worried about setting up my finances. Okay. So this is a thing that is important to say. I've never moved to another country. I know the video is called Moving Abroad Questions. I've never moved to another country. I have bopped. Okay. I've never had to get a bank account abroad. I don't have a bank account abroad. Even when I spend 6 months out of the year in Mexico, I still bank with USAA, right? These are things that are annoying. So when you bop, you don't need to do these things. You don't need to set up this is why it's easier. I've never set up a bank account. I've never gotten an electric bill changed over to my name in another country. I just bop, right? It's easier. The pressure is off. You're a tourist. But without having to see everything. Yeah, the pressure's off. You're in between. You're still a tourist. I don't want to say I'm thinking like you're in between being a tourist and a long-term move abroad, but you haven't moved there, right? I think, right? If you don't have a bank account there, you haven't moved there. Maybe. I don't know. If you don't have residency and a bank account or one or the other, I don't know. You haven't moved there. So I've never moved anywhere out of the US. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I want to give you this though. I do want to give you this link. I think let's talk quickly about money. Another question people don't ask enough, or may think is a question they shouldn't ask is about money. Yeah. People give advice about getting money in other countries that is just too complicated, right? People will tell you to convert money in the US before you go abroad. There are ATMs. There's ATMs there. There's ATMs there. Get your money out of the ATM, okay? You're probably going to get the best conversion rate by using the ATM in the country you're going to and saying, no, don't convert it, right? Don't use your conversion rate. Use a different, whatever. Just say no. When they say, do you want to convert it? Decline that. Decline the conversion, right? That using the ATM is going to give you the best rate. That's how you're going to get money. I've been to one place where there was no ATM. That was on El Nido in the Philippines. Beautiful. You should go there, right? There was one ATM, but it was not working. So the Philippines, the island of Palawan, there's a city or town called El Nido. Beautiful. The most beautiful place. The most beautiful place. The only ATM in town was not working, and I got on a bus. I drowned my phone, and I got on a bus and went, I want to say 3 hours each way to use the ATM. I did that. Okay. So then it would have behooved me to have some cash, but that's not where I landed, right? So the key is get into the airport, land, get some cash out of the ATM immediately. That's the first thing I do. Get some cash out of the ATM immediately, right? Separate some of that out for in case of emergencies, in case all the ATMs are broken and I can't use them, right? And then just use the ATM as you see fit. The secret to ATM, the problem with ATMs is that they charge you that transaction fee. So you want to make sure you're using a bank that does not charge you that 3% foreign transaction fee. If you bank with one of the greedy banks, they probably charge you a 3% foreign transaction fee. I bank with USAA, no foreign transaction fee. I think same for Navy Federal Credit Union. Chime Bank is also a bank that charges no foreign transaction fee, right? So switch over to a bank for your travels that will let you take money out without charging you extra. USAA even refunds me my ATM fees when I'm abroad. When I was in Curacao, every time I used the ATM, immediately I would get that refunded back to my account from USAA. But Chime, if you're not eligible for a USAA account, Chime is a bank that people seem to like. It's a bank that Rashida and I use for Exodus things, right? Rashida and I right now are using Chime Bank for our Exodus account. And so Chime is giving you $100 if you join Chime and you move a $200 direct deposit to Chime, to your new account within 45 days. All right. The link is here. It's in the, let's see. I think that link is not clickable though, right? I need to put a space in there. Member.chime.com. Let's try it again. member.chime.com/join/Stephanie Perry 53. All right. That's in the Work From Anywhere toolkit. If you already got the toolkit, you have that link. All right. Fidelity is also a good bank with no foreign transaction fees that travelers love. Charles Schwab is a bank with no foreign transaction fee that travelers love. Mrs. McQueen says she loves Chime. Good. Yeah, Rashida and I have not had any problems with our Exodus account with Chime. Junket, Charles Schwab, yes. USAA, Ivy, yes. Okay. So the foreign Capital One, I don't know about that. Honestly, Pearl Pugh, we're talking about the debit card. We're talking about a debit card, not the credit card. I don't know about that. I don't know that Capital One doesn't. I'm suspicious of that. I'll whisper this because the greedy banks all charge a foreign transaction fee. And I lump, as a Delawarean, I feel qualified to speak on banks. Your bank is located in Delaware. I don't care where it says where you live, except for USAA. They're not here, right? The greedy banks are located in Delaware. And I don't know. I don't know about that. Okay. Which is better, Chime or Charles Schwab? Charles Schwab requires you to have the account, you know what I'm saying? Isn't an investment account? You need a brokerage account. With Charles Schwab, you need to set up a brokerage account in order to get the ATM, to get the debit card. So if you want a simpler transaction, Chime may be better, but Charles Schwab is loved and beloved by travelers. Yes. Charles Schwab is the traveler's go-to card. Yes. Yes, so Capital One credit cards do work abroad. Okay, we're talking about a debit card and we're talking about the foreign transaction fee. Your credit card works abroad, right? I'm talking about, does the debit card charge you a foreign transaction fee? Oh no, Maria says Navy Federal charged her foreign transaction fees when she spent a month in Canada. Shame on them. I thought for sure Navy Federal, because I don't know. I assume they do what USAA does. That's what I would have assumed. That's not good. Okay, so Maria, get you an account that is not going to charge you that. I would holler at them. I would holler at them. By holler at them, I mean I would contact them and see if they're willing to refund it. Okay, 40-something fire. I have a Capital One online bank account, no international fee, and they return ATM fees. Okay, good. Been with them for years. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, don't try this with Wells Fargo. Or I have been lumping them together, so I'm going to have to move Capital One out of the greedy bank category in my mind. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, so Navy Federal does charge foreign transaction fees. Okay, so y'all Navy Federal friends, find a bank that is not going to charge you foreign transaction fees so that when you're abroad, you're not paying extra just for taking the money out. Good. Okay. Auntie Trey, I just opened a Charles Schwab account. Yeah. People love it. People love it. Because of USAA, I don't feel the need to shop around for banks. I ain't going nowhere, right? I'm not going anywhere. But brokerage account. Thank you, Christine. That is called a brokerage account. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so so like I said, we do have the Chime account. So I have a card with another bank. Yeah. Okay, how are we doing on questions? Okay, so we talked about some of the questions that I think you're not asking that you should ask. And I think one of the questions is about periods because, surprise, some places don't sell tampons. Surprise, sometimes the tampon is behind the pharmacy counter. You can't just go in the store and buy them. So my solution for this was menstrual cup. I switched to a menstrual cup a while ago. I started with the Diva cup, and now I'm using the June cup. I like the June, like just the actual cup. I like the June cup better than the Diva cup. It's a little firmer, feels heavier, silicone or whatever. I just like it better. But that is what I have done. I have switched over. Tampons abroad was a thing, especially during that first gap year when I was traveling and moving from place to place. I visited 12 countries in 12 months, and I don't know how many cities. And tampons are just not out in the world. Part of it is some places have regulations, and the US companies don't want to fit their regulations, right? The US companies don't want to use, right, organic cotton in the tampon, right? It's going to be chemically treated, whatever, whatever. So some countries no to tampons. In other countries, it's just that they're behind the counter in the pharmacy. And do you feel like standing in line for tampons? Pads are also very different. You can buy the same brand of pad around the world, always, I'll say the name, and have a very different experience in every country you buy pads in. I've bought always pads all over the world. They're not always, always. I just saw a Twitter post from a woman in South Africa about toxic shock from always pads in South Africa. Right. The pads are different. Different countries have different requirements. This is why a lot of women are switching to organic pads, right? We know that they're like the Honey Pot, and there are a couple of brands that are new and out in the world that are doing organic products, organic menstrual products, because apparently, this is just my observation, what the US does to these products is not allowed in other countries. Which made me think, why am I still using these, right? If they're not allowed to be sold in this country, why am I using it, right? Sanitary products, and also the dye that's in Cheetos. Around the world, Cheetos don't look like Cheetos in the US. The color is totally different color, because the dye that's allowed in the US is not allowed in other countries, right? So that's easier, if that might be an easier way to understand. So same thing with tampons and pads. So I switched to the menstrual cup. This is my next move. I think I'm going to switch to period panties, or add in period panties. COVID really changed my period. It's much, much heavier, and it comes much more often. I'm no longer on a 28-day cycle. And so I'm going to be moving over to period panties. So anybody have any info on this? I think I'm going to need to use, I have seen the menstrual underwear. I need somebody to tell me that she has used menstrual underwear only and not as a backup. I understand menstrual underwear as a backup, and I would do that today. But I need to know, is anybody using it only? So this is me asking you a dumb question. So, but with the menstrual cups, I've had no problems. There is a learning curve it is harder to use than a tampon. I'm going to tell you, it's harder to use. The learning curve for inserting and removing the menstrual cup, it took me probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 periods, like 4 or 5 cycles before I know, when I get this cup in, I got it in right, and I'm not going to have to take it out and reinsert it. The good news is it's 12 hours. I don't care. Even now with my heavy COVID periods, my menstrual cup, 12 hours. I put it in the morning, I take it out sometime before I go to bed. So they hold. So that's been great news. Yeah, but there's a learning curve to putting it in. I watched a couple YouTube videos, but I can't remember whose. I don't remember if I watched videos by the cup maker, or if it was just a woman on YouTube. But there's a learning curve to inserting and removing the menstrual cup. But after that, I have to think about it a whole lot less, right? So I'm in Curacao, I'm in the pool. I don't have to think about what I'm going to do, right? I put it in the morning. I don't have to think about it. I can get in the pool, get out of the pool, do whatever I need to do without any concern. So I like them, but it took a while for me to get to be sure that this was what I'm going to do, because there's a learning curve. It's not as easy, right? They're not as easy. All right. Any questions? Us Gales, I use disposable Riel menstrual panties, and they disposable panties, and I've switched to them exclusively. Do we think that they? So if they're disposable, what's the difference between them and a pad in terms of? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I love the Diva Cup. Ava says I loved it. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Erica says she uses the Thinks period panties. I love them. Medium, 3 to 6 days. They make them for different flows. Okay. And you use them alone, not as backup. That's my question. Do you use them as backup or just the period panties? Sheikah says it's too messy for this trial and error. I was committed. Okay. I was committed. And this was before COVID. I never had a heavy period until after the COVID. So I got to experiment pre-COVID. I was committed to it because I want to be able to bop around. And if I'm staying in an Airbnb with a pool, baby, I'm getting in the pool. Okay. And I don't want to have to think about things. You know, I like as little as possible. The menstrual cup to me is as little as possible because it's in and then it's in. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go to the bathroom every 4 hours or whatever. It's in, it's set it and forget it. So I did get to experiment on a medium to light period before. And now, so if probably now, I don't know. I would probably still, I would still start off now, I think. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. So there are things you'll see. There are things that the U.S. allows, or you've probably already seen. Hey, Lucille, you've already seen. There are things that the U.S. allows, and you go to other countries, and they can't. Not that they don't do them this way, but they cannot. They cannot sell this product in this country. Uh that's one of the reasons that I know this is not the place for me to stay. Okay. Angela also uses things. Thank you for this. Okay. Heavy flow, use them, love them. Okay, good to know. So this is the next thing that I'm going to switch over to, or can add into the arsenal, I guess. But I'm still going to need the cup because, like I said, I'm getting in the pool. If my Airbnb has a pool, I'm getting in the pool. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And I want to go to Costa Rica. And so I know if I get to an Airbnb in Costa Rica, I know I'm going to need that. And now that I'm having 2 periods a month, I can't be tied down. I can't. Okay. Another vote for thanks. Hi, Makeda. Another vote for thanks. Okay, good. All right. Hysterectomy is an option. No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. Okay. Okay, good to know. Okay. And Erica says, yes, she uses them alone. Okay, thanks, friends. Okay, that's a question people don't ask enough. People don't ask about periods enough. I think your period is more difficult to navigate than natural hair, right? People ask a lot about natural hair abroad. I'm like, buy stuff, wash your hair, wash your hair, do your hair, right? I use Garnier Fructis, something, something, avocado, something, shampoo and conditioner. And I just add a lot of oil. Right now I have Jamaican black castor oil, but if I can't find that, I'll use avocado oil. You can find avocado oil everywhere. And olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. You can find that everywhere. I find that as long as I add extra oil to my products or directly to my hair, I can use whatever. I ain't picky. And then I use my twist butter. I use Chemet Biologics, Theopica Hydrate and Twist Butter. I do use that and I pack it and I will check a bag just because I want to have that with me. I've checked a bag just to make sure I could take that with me, if nothing else. Because even though it's a butter and it comes in a thing, it's a solid, it comes in like a container. It's not here. Oh, you saw, my whole intention was not to turn my head during the video so you wouldn't see what I did to my head. Maybe you didn't see it, but I did to the back of my head wrap so that it would work. I have repackaged it into multiple smaller containers and I've just checked it. Because anytime I try to fly with it in a carry-on, even though it's a solid, they steal it. Every time. Well, 2 times. I've had it happen to me 2 times and I'm never going to have that problem again. Oh, good question. Anybody have a referral link for their panties? You can't put it in the description though. You guys aren't allowed to put links in. But if you want to leave your referral link for the panties, you can do it and just not do it like a link. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to, if it's thinks.com dash and then a bunch of numbers, you're going to have to do thinks and then spell out dot and then com and then the dash and the numbers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, does that make sense? If you want to share your referral link, go ahead and share it, but they're not going to let you. YouTube, I have it set up and YouTube has it set up that you can't put a link in the description. That keeps people from being too spammy, from like bots and stuff coming over. Okay. Yeah, I'm not talking disposable period panties. A misunderstood Gemini. Yeah, I don't want disposable period panties. I just want washable period panties. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't want the disposable kind. I don't want to have to, because then I still got to buy them and bring them or get them where I'm going, right? If I pack my period panties, we're good to go, right? I don't want to have to keep buying and buying and buying them. Yes. So the I don't mean the disposable kind for me personally. I just saw this. So this is what convinced me, Angela. Angela says they have sleep shorts. I just saw them for the first time, and this is what convinced me to move over to that team because I saw the period sleep shorts, and I was like, this is what I've been missing. This is what's missing, right? Because yeah, this changed my outlook on the period panties. Yeah. Okay, good. I know. I know. Margaret. That's right. Okay. Okay. Oh, hey, Kathy Smith. Kathy says, thank you, Erica, for introducing her to this channel. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Erica. Hi, friends. Okay. So, any other questions? If you've already listed a question that I've not answered and you want me to ask it, you're going to have to do it again because I'm at the bottom of the chat now and I don't know. I'm not going to be able to find you. Okay, thank you. I'll get it checked out. COVID period changes are a thing though. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ivy. I'm very sorry to hear that. But COVID has been changing periods as well. Yes. Okay, y'all in menopause rubbing it in. I have a question. Hi, Silver Daniel. When you move abroad, you often have more free time. How do you free the space of not having community or family around to spend time with? You form community. You find community, make friends. Yeah. You're probably, because you have free time, you have more time for your friends. So make friends where you are and do things. Adelia and Rashida be in Mexico City doing stuff all the time. Okay. I happen to be a person who does not do things. I spend my free time just like this. Okay, but if you want to do things, find things. Adelia made a T-shirt for me because I'm sitting right next to my dresser. If I could pull it out, because she took a screen printing class in Mexico City. Let me pull it out my drawer. Right, Adelia took a screen printing class in Mexico City and printed some shirts, and I happened to be in town, and she was like, "Here, have a shirt." I said she printed it for me as if she printed it for me, but right, do things. The point of going abroad is being in a place where your money goes further and you have time to do things. Just try stuff, right? Over here. I can't. They're not close enough. But I bought crochet hooks and I'm calling it string yarn and stuff to start learning crochet. Do things. Find things to do. That's the point. That's the point. When you get to a place where your money goes further and you no longer have to work all the time, you find things to do, right? You can get involved in Lake Chapala, Mexico. There's a whole dog rescue community, right? Those old ladies in Lake Chapala, Mexico are committed to rescuing dogs, right? Find things that you're into and do them. That's the whole point. That's the freedom. That's the freedom, right? You could spend your time trying to learn how to swim, right? And then just swim, use your Airbnb or your apartment pool all the time, right? Find things that you're into and get into them. So the answer is whatever. Whatever. What can you do? Whatever. I don't know the answer to this. Is Nuva Ring readily available in other countries? Has anyone seen this anywhere? Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I love that twist butter. I love it. All right. Okay, I'll check. I'll check. I don't have a history of fibroids in my I don't have any history of fibroids in my family either, but I'll check. It really like literally it happened with COVID. I get COVID in December immediately. I'm getting all these things. And there COVID period is a thing. It's a thing. But but thank you. I will do that. Let me tell you about my hair product. So that Kemet Biologics Athiopica Hydrate and Twist Butter is glorious. It's glorious. I used to work in a hospital pharmacy where we had to use the harshest chemicaliest soap to wash our hands, and I made IVs. So I washed my hands all day, and my hands would just, especially after taking time off work, like if I go on vacation for a week, right? When I would go back to work, immediately my hands would just be cracked. My hands looked like they were 188 years old, right? Just you could like every single, you could see every like cell of my hands cracked, right? And around that time that I started working there, I also started using that hydrate and twist butter. And one day I just realized you know how I touch my hair all the time, was touching my hair and I just rubbed it into my hands and I was like, oh, I could probably use this in my hands. Tried it out. Don't you know, my hands were healed, healed from the cracks from the time I went to bed to the time I woke up. So I use the Kemet Biologics not only in my hair, but if I need to, I use it on my hands. When I got sunburned in Curacao, and I did get sunburned in Curacao, okay, whatever. I did use that to help with the sunburn on my shoulders. Yes, okay. I love that stuff. So when I went through the airport security in Malaysia and she opened up the container and she looked at it and I'm like, she's seeing that this is a solid. It's gonna be no problem. And then she put it back. Then she proceeded to tell me that I couldn't take it and she put it in the trash can. That hurt me. Like I was injured. That hurt me. And then it turns out I was in the wrong airport wing. So I had to go out of security. I thought I could just go, like if I'm leaving out of if I'm leaving out of B4 and I was in A, right? I figured you could just walk it, right? Nope. I had to leave out of that gate and then go back through security again. So you're telling me she threw away my stuff for nothing, right? I let her throw my stuff away for nothing. I pleaded my case. It's a solid. It's a solid. That was the very first time. And then it happened again. I think the second time was in Mexico, right? But every time they do it, they open it up. It smells like heaven. It smells like heaven in a jar. They open it up and they look at it. I know they're taking it. I know they're taking it. There's no way. I know they're taking my stuff, right? They see me, my hair and my skin look so good. They're like, I want it. So I have repackaged it into a bunch of smaller containers before, and I have just checked a bag. I have just checked a bag because I wanted my hair stuff. Okay? I don't judge me. I've done it. Okay? Will this video be saved? Hi, Shayla. Yes. Yeah. So the replays are always here on the channel. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Oh, Tal says we're struggling with hair products. Yeah, because your locks are so much easier. I really like that. I don't know where you guys are, Tal, but the Garnier Fructis, something with an avocado on the front, right? The shampoo and conditioner are no problem. You know, sometimes some shampoos are too much, too strippy. Other shampoos don't do anything. I like the way the shampoo shampoos my hair and the conditioner. As long as I don't leave that conditioner in. I think it's one of the curly girl conditioners where you could actually leave it in your hair. I don't. I rinse it out. But then I use a lot of oil, whatever oil I can find, whatever oil is there. Loch Ness Monster, how long do they last? Are you asking about the period underwear? I'm guessing. That's a good question. Anybody answer that question? This is another good question, Joan, because I didn't look at the sizing, which is a problem I have. I just assume everybody's going to have my size, and then I get my feelings hurt later. So I need to check this out. We need to do some Thinks investigation. I need Thinks to sponsor this a follow-up video. I need to holler at Thinks. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question. How often do they last? Yeah, that's a good question. All right. In the US, you can buy menopause medicine to help with the symptoms over the counter. Is it also available is it also available abroad? Anybody have an answer for Greta? Hi, Connie. Do you have a packing list? I don't, but Rashida does. Rashida Dow made a packing list for long-term travel, for sabbaticals or career breaks or bopping around, digital nomad things. If you go to sheetasontheloose.com, you'll see her sabbatical packing guide or plan. sheetasontheloose.com. Yes, I think I did that right. If you go there, you'll see that from Rashida. She's made a packing list for women's. Yes, for the things that we forget to stock up on or get, right? There's not a whole lot. So hair products I don't stock up on. I just take my Chemet Biologics thing. The shampoo and conditioner I get when I get there. But there are some things that we do need. Or do you wear contact lenses, right? Do you need certain medications? You need to get 90 or 180 days of your medications before you go. Yeah. All right. Okay. So Shauna says you can get a good between 2 and 5 years out of period panties. Boop. Money savings. Savings, savings, savings. Good. And Erica also, she hasn't had to replace hers yet. All right. Money, money. All right. There you go. I know Power of Tranquility says that if you don't check them, you're at the mercy of TSA. I learned that lesson. It it was hurtful. I mean, I was going on my Malaysia was my first country in my 12 month 12 country bopping, right? My gap year. You talking about you want to take my stuff in the first country? I'm gonna have to go 11 countries without Chemet Biologics hydrate and twist butter. It hurt me. That hurt me. Okay. Donna lost a large tube of Sensodyne. So, yeah, I'm like, don't you know how much I need that? Don't you know how much I need that? I probably could have, Amelia. That's good. So I didn't think ahead of. So once I got to the wrong gate, I got to where I realized I couldn't get to my gate, and I walked back through. It just didn't occur to me to be like, hey, excuse me, can I have my stuff back? I don't know why it didn't occur to me, because who knows what the next person would have done, right? I wish it had occurred to me. Yeah. All right. Okay. So how are we doing? Do I need to get on my phone? Is it that my laptop is just not? I'm on a third-party app called Ecamm Live, and so I don't see the whole chat. I just see like most. I think I see more than half of the chat, but I'm going to get on my phone real quick just to see if. Come on, Ad. Just to see if I'm missing some. Since I asked you for your last call for questions, I want to make sure that I'm not just skipping over them. Okay. So Debbie says, "Good luck getting more than 90 days let me see if I can find you on here. Good luck getting more than 90 days medication." I worked in two different hospital pharmacies, and one was outpatient though. It was in the hospital, was an outpatient pharmacy, and we did do 180 days. We did fill 180 days if the Doctor prescribed. Actually, you know what though? That was a military hospital. That was a military hospital where everything was free. So I never dealt with insurance companies, which is a strange thing. I've been a pharmacy technician for 10 years and never had to deal with an insurance company as a pharmacy technician. So you might be right, Debbie. You might be right. When we did it, right, these were military people, and sure, you want 180 days? Sure, have 180 days. Birth control, we would just give her a year at the jump, right? Birth control, here's 12. Be blessed. All right. I'm just looking. All right. I need to see another one I want to bring up on the screen about public toilets. TOILE. Is it here? T. Kelly. Public toilets are different in different countries. Costa Rica, you don't flush the toilet paper and you pay a small fee to use the public toilet. Yes. Japan, some toilets are home in the floor that you have to squat over. Yes, right? This is another thing that people don't know to ask, like the periods, the toilet thing. Okay? So, yes, in some parts of the world, you do not flush the toilet paper. Some of these places, the plumbing is old, or just for whatever other reason. I always assume because they have old plumbing, right? In the whole country, you don't flush the toilet paper unless you go to a like American-owned resort. Throughout the whole country, they're not flushing the toilet paper, right? You wrap up your toilet paper real good. You put it in the trash can and you take that trash outside. Yep. That's the way it's done in some parts of the world. In some parts of Mexico, right? I've been into plenty of Airbnbs in Mexico with the sign, do not flush your toilet paper, right? That's a thing in a lot of the world. Some places, yes, in the public toilet, you pay. I think probably the free pay toilet is more strange than it's probably less common. I think the most common public toilets are pay toilets because even in Europe, pay toilets, you pay a few cents to get in to the toilet. You always have to have change, which is hard for me because I never have money. I never have any cash on me. Yes, you always have to have change. Yeah, in Mexico, in the bus stations, I know the toilets are pay toilets because you have to navigate putting the money in and getting your luggage through the thing. I hate that. I hate that system. Yeah, lots of pay toilets all over the world. I think the US having free public toilets is an outlier. I think most public toilets around the world are pay. You got to pay to get into this public toilet. Yes, and then the squat toilet. Southeast Asia, yes, squat toilet. You got to be able to squat over that toilet if you want to use that toilet. I've been in places in Southeast Asia that had a mix. Like if you go in and there's 2 rows of toilet, one row might be the squat toilet and the other row is the seated toilet, right? But in some places they have the squat toilet and that's it. You got to learn how to use that thing. Another thing with a learning curve, not too hard, but if you can't squat, if you can't get down into a deep squat, you're going to have a problem. I have I have peed on my feet before. I have peed on my feet. I moved around Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam by bus. And you know, the bus stops halfway through. You go to the restaurant. There's a KFC at the bus stop. We always seem to have a KFC everywhere, right? There's a KFC. You want to go to the toilet and then you want to eat your KFC. I have done many a squat toilet and like, I just peed on my feet. Now I gotta go clean this up before I can go get my KFC. And the bus is leaving in 5 minutes. I'm on a tight deadline. Yes, so some places will have both. Some places will have one. You can learn. You have to learn it. Learn that squat toilet out in public. But this cat says I squat anyway. This is not it's a hole in the floor, right? That it's you gotta get down in the squat. You gotta drop down. You gotta drop it low to use these properly. It's a hole in the floor. It's a hole in the floor with like 2 little grip things for your feet. 2 little grip metal 2 little metal plates for your feet, and a metal hole, like a toilet hole. Yeah, you got to get low, or it's not gonna work for you. Oh, Simi says some toilets now will let you pay with a credit card. Okay, yeah, because I've had that. Like I'm going to get on the bus. I'm going from Guadalajara to where do I house sit? The place where I house sit, and San Miguel. and I want to use the bathroom real quick. I don't have any change. Now I have to go to Subway, buy something, and then go get in the toilet, go use the toilet. Okay? Oh, six stringers, six stringster one. Hi. US used to have paid toilets for women when I was young. Oh, but the men didn't have to pay. What in the world? What in the world? Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. So I think the pay toilet is probably the most common public toilet in the world. I think most of them are pay. I think the US having them for free is the outlier. All right. All right. I'm just looking to make sure I'm not missing questions. Ask your dumb questions. Okay. We got a couple more minutes. Ask me your dumb questions, questions you were afraid to ask or whatever. I see a question. What about waxing? I don't know. I'm just typing wax into the chat. I'm trying to bring your question up onto the screen. Anyone have any experience with waxing around the world? I would assume in Southeast Asia, it's inexpensive and a pretty decent experience. I would guess, actually, I would guess around the world, it's more inexpensive and not a horrible experience. But what do I know? I don't know. I got my eyebrows threaded in Vietnam. That's as close as I got. I went to get my beard. I have a beard, right? And I shave it. And then sometimes I just don't shave it, right? It's full. It goes from here to here and all the way down, right? Full on beard. And I'm in Vietnam and I'm like, they do this kind of thing. So the lady was like, yeah, come on, I'll do your beard. She said, I'll also do your eyebrows. I said, I don't really have eyebrows, but she did a little something up. I don't really have eyebrows. All of this is manufactured. And then she said, do you have a mustache? And I was like, no. She was like, yes, yes. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I've been so busy focused on the beard. I didn't know I had a mustache. She's like, yes, you have a mustache. So I've been threaded in Vietnam. As close as I can get. So did anybody answer your question? Let's see. Wax. Anybody answer? But I would guess that it's inexpensive. I've had massages and manicures and pedicures around, and it's very inexpensive around the world. Yeah, waxing is common in Europe. Yeah, beauty care is inexpensive in Korea. Yeah. Yep, yep. Laser it off. I had laser surgery. I did get it lasered off in the army because everything is free in the army. I have had socialist health care. I understand socialist medicine. I had it in the army, uh, but that was 2005, 2004, right? It all came back. It all came back with a vengeance. Medical tourism on laser hair removal. Tell us, Sonia. Somebody tell us where. Somebody tell us where to do it. I don't know that it was worth it. Kat says turmeric slows down hair growth. Okay, I'll see what happens. Oh, and I don't have to worry about it turning me orange. Okay, good. Okay. I have I'm using a vitamin C drops serum. That's what it's called, a serum. And everybody was like, "Oh, it turned me orange." And I was like, "Well, I ain't got to worry about that. You're not going to see it." I did it for my beard, but it came back. It didn't it maybe I never took the hair away. It just lessened the hair growth. Thinned it out nicely. But by 5 years later, I was back to shaving. I have to shave every day if I don't want you to know I have a beard. Mostly, I don't care. I have a beard. Mostly, I don't. It's not the thing that I worry about. As you know, I've discussed eyelid surgery about 100 times. I hardly ever discuss wanting to do anything about the beard because I don't care about it. I don't care about it. I feel like I feel like having wrinkled eyelids is more of a daily stressor in my life than having a beard. I don't care. I don't know why I feel so giggly, but that's my life. Okay, I'm more concerned about my eyelids and wanting that surgery, blepharectomy is called, blepharectomy. I want that more than I care about doing something about the beard. That, and I do need to get some glasses, and I did want to get my glasses in Mexico for research purposes, to see what the price was like. But then I couldn't wait, so I ended up getting glasses here. Yeah, yeah. More in the city, you have to do upkeep on the laser hair removal. Yeah, I wasn't doing that because it was free in the army. I'm not paying. I'm not paying. I'm not paying for that. All right. Electrolysis was a major success. Okay, and do you do, girl, please, do you do do you do them regularly now, or like do you have to do it every year or so? Well, maybe one day I would, but I don't know. At this point, I'm used to it, right? It's part of my routine. I draw on my eyebrows, I add on eyebrows, and I take off the beard. It's part of my routine. I have on, Jessica, I have on a little bit of, what's it called? Concealer, and I have on eyeshadow today. When I don't, my eyes look very, all people say to me is, you look tired. You look tired. You look tired. And I'm like, that's just my face. That's just the eyelids. My eyelids are just downturned and hooded and wrinkly. And so if I wear some concealer and some eyeshadow, they can pass for, I can pass for not tired. But if when I'm barefaced, that is the comment. People in person, I remember going on dates. I went on a date where I used to work night shift. We off topic. I used to work night shift, and I agreed to go on a breakfast date. Right, I agreed to get off of work night shift, go home, get myself cute, and go on a date. We get out of the car. I meet him there. We get out of our cars. First thing he says is, "Oh, you look tired." I don't like that comment. I'm like, who raised these men? Who talks to women like that? Why would you say that? You know I work night shift, right? You know I did extra steps to be here. And it's clear that I put some effort into looking cute. I'm not wearing my work scrubs, right? I probably even painted my nails. We couldn't wear nail polish because I'd made IVs. I couldn't wear nail polish. I probably went home and painted my nails. Who knows what I did? What kind of shenanigans I got into? And first comment was, you look tired. I don't like it. So those of you with wrinkled eyelids, I'm not telling you that you need to have surgery on your eyelids, right? Right? I'm just telling you what I am into. Some of y'all, if you had this nose, that would be your first priority, right? Some of you, if you had this chin, this beard, that would be your first priority. I'm just telling you my thoughts that I've been thinking. I think in Mexico, so I still paid $200 or $300 for these glasses. They're not cute. They're not progressive, right? And I still had to pay probably $200. They're not bifocals. So I had to take them off to read. So I feel like in Mexico for this price, I could have gotten cute frames and progressive bifocal lenses where I would actually be able to see things. So I paid $200, I think. And I got the cheapest, most bare bones glasses I could possibly get. They were just for driving. Mostly I just use them for driving and, well, watching TV. I do have to wear my phone to watch TV. Yeah, Alicia, I get electrolysis as well. Glad to know I'm not alone. You're not alone. This is one of the things that happens when you tell your business. We talked earlier about YouTube being a place where you can just go out and have a platform. One of the things about telling your business is that you find, oh, I'm not alone. I've learned that. Right? There's hardly anything that I could say, and y'all be like, what? Right? Somebody's gonna be like, yeah, me too. Me too. Hello, I'm Stephanie. I have a beard. Somebody's like, yeah, me too. I get electrolysis for this or that. It's nice. It's nice to feel like, oh, this, especially for things that we kind of cover up or keep secret, right? And then you find out that other people are doing the same thing. You're like, oh, well, why have I been keeping this a secret? Why have I been covering this up all the time? Why have I been so concerned? I've never been a person who's been concerned with the beard. I started growing a beard when I was 17. I've never been truly concerned with it. Sometimes I shave it. I do let it grow through because I don't want, my bigger problem is ingrown hairs, right? I don't want ingrown hairs. So I do let it poke through. You won't see it. If you see me 3 days in a row, you will see the progression. I will start day 0, no beard. By day 3, you will see the beard, right? I'm gonna let it poke through. I'm not gonna, I would rather do that than have ingrown hairs. That is a thing about sharing your stuff, right? A lot of the stuff that you keep in, that you spent a lot of time and focus and energy and attention and stress keeping in, if you just said it, somebody be like, yeah, me too, right? It's a wonderful thing that has happened since I've been on YouTube. I've not been a stressing person anyway. I've never been like a person who had, I don't know, concerns. But even more so, being a person who talks of my talk on YouTube, I always find somebody who's like, yeah, me too. Hello, glass half full. Nervous about driving in other countries? Any places people drive regularly. It's okay to be concerned about driving in different places because different places have different rules, and some places the rules matter. Some places the rules don't matter. In Mexico, the rules don't matter. The rules are different. People are more courteous when they're courteous, and they're more reckless when they're reckless because the other people are going to be more courteous. So you will find people in Mexico having no problem making a left turn from the middle lane because they know other people are going to compensate. Other people, it's a community. We work together in driving in Mexico. It's a joint effort. And so they're going to do some things that seem strange to us who are more strict about following the rules and less courteous. I would say the same thing in Curacao, actually. I drove in Curacao a good amount of the time. I rented a car 2 different times. And the whole last month I had a car. I would also say they're much more courteous. There's no such thing as let me speed past this. You know how like you see the red, you're at a green light, but you see the cars, you're going through an intersection, you have the green light, but the cars are starting to get backed up in front of you and you want to speed through the green light so you don't get caught at a red light. They don't do that in Curacao. They don't do that. You're not going to block that intersection in Curacao, right? So more courteous, but they also seem to be a place where speed limit didn't matter. So I would say, can you pick places where you don't have to drive, right? I love Mexico for that. You don't have to drive. Uber is super cheap. Get yourself in a neighborhood where you can walk to the things you need. Uber is super cheap. Mexico City, they even have public transportation, right? Some cities in Mexico. Leon has public transportation. Guadalajara has public transportation. I found Guadalajara's public transportation to not be very robust, but Uber is super cheap, right? I'm gonna get an Uber, right? Uh, Clarice, who might be here, just got her driver's license to drive in Jamaica. She had to get a teacher. She had to get a teacher to teach her how to drive in Jamaica because it's that different. So some places you should be more concerned. Other places, no big deal. Driving on the left is no big deal. I'll tell you. Driving on the left, no big deal. I've driven in South Africa, Australia, and the UK. Did I drive in the UK? I don't remember if I drove in the UK. Definitely drove in South Africa and Australia. Driving on the left, no big deal, right? But driving in a place where the rules are different and people operate differently, uh, more of a concern. So I don't do a whole lot of drive. Well, I guess I kind of do. I don't know. I just told you I had a car for the whole last month. I do medium driving, but I like to go places where I don't have to drive. It's one of the things that I really loved about Lisbon, Portugal. You don't have to drive. All right. Ah, I'm surprised by this. Debbie, I could not find anyone to do my locks in Paris. I'm really surprised by that because there are lots of Black people in Paris. Was it just that you didn't know who to ask? Like how to find a person? Because there's got to be, right? All the West African or just Africans in general, there are Black people in Paris, right? If you had gone to the Eiffel Tower, do I have my things still here? I don't have them. If you had gone to the Eiffel Tower and asked those men out there selling trinkets who where there's a loctician, they would have hooked you up. I I don't know. I feel like that was a question that you just needed a community for, right? Was that a problem? You just didn't have the people to ask. Okay, how did we do? I'm just reading your comments. I'm looking for questions, but instead you're just giving me compliments in the chat. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the kind words. But I'm looking to make sure, since I gave the last call, I want to make sure I actually get your last questions. Yeah, Adelia. Okay, here she go, rubbing it in. Her progressive lenses, her glasses in Mexico. You got them in Mexico for about 200 US dollars. I thought so. I'm like, if this was Mexico, because my frames are ugly, the lenses are not good, and I have to take my glasses off if I'm watching TV, and I also want to look at my laptop. I have to take my glasses off. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But COVID, I had been in Mexico. I had been in La Paz all winter last winter, and I just and the optician, the eye doctor was right within walking distance of my Airbnb, but I just didn't want him breathing in my face, right? It was COVID. And this was before I was what's the word? Vaccinated, right? Because this was the year before last, not last winter, but the year before. And I just, I was like, I didn't even go to restaurants, right? I stayed in and got my food delivered and stuff. And I was like, I just can't go, him breathing in my face, me breathing in his face during COVID. So I waited until I came home and then got ugly, ugly glasses. This is what I'm gonna have to do, Ava. Get a chain. Because I'm like, but I really do need the bifocals because I can't read up close. My mom had something, which she had the other day. She wanted me to read the package. I'm like, girl, I can't read that. You're gonna have to read this. You the one with the glasses. I can't read that package. I can't read anything that is. Let me see. I need it to be at least this far away to be able to read it, right? And it's got to be pretty big. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I've heard a lot. For vets. I don't understand your question, Copious Cat. Any recommendations for vets transition out? I don't understand. Can you ask me that a different way? Can you reword your question? I don't understand it. Is there a Sam's Club? Yes. Or there's Costco, there's Walmart. Yeah, there's Sam's Club. Mm-hmm. Guadalajara, there is Costco and Walmart, but I don't know if there's Sam's Club in Guadalajara. You can Google it. There's Sam's Club in Mexico City. I stayed in an Airbnb with my view. The view from my window was Sam's Club. Yes. Yeah, Walmart seems to be in and around Mexico and down into, I think they're also down into Costa Rica. So I told you I'm looking at Costa Rica for my next visit, and I saw some Walmarts in Costa Rica too. Not that I was looking for Walmart, I just saw it on the map. Yes, it does feel good to know that you're not alone, but sometimes you don't know it until you can open up, right, and say what you have to say. Then you find out you're not alone. Joan also rubbing it in. I just paid for an eye exam and frames, $90 in Ajijic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Joan and Adelia, for rubbing it in. Yes, Joan is in Ajijic, Mexico, which is not too far outside of Guadalajara, in the Lake Chapala area. All right. Okay. So that means we nailed it. We answered the questions that you have been afraid to ask. Don't leave here with your questions. All right. Don't leave here with the same questions, okay? I think we did it. Let me check on my phone, see if I'm missing anything. Sabrina, do we encounter any cartel in Mexico City? I don't have enough money for the cartel to be interested in me. I can't afford the restaurants they go to. I can't afford the restaurants. I can't even afford the cartel mall. Rashida did walk me through the mall, the high-end mall, one of the high-end malls in Mexico City. I can't afford anything in that shopping center, right? So the answer is no. I don't know how I would encounter them because I don't have the money to be in the spaces they have the money to be in. You know what I'm saying? They're there. We're not gonna pretend like they don't exist. They exist. But we can't we're not crossing paths, right? I'm eating at KFC. I'm eating at KFC. We're not gonna cross paths. Yeah. Yes. There was a glorious mall. I can't even. Some of the. I had never heard of most of the stores in the mall. Right. Oh, right. Yes. So either you have to have the money to meet them, or you have to be up to nefarious activities. I'm not doing either one of those things. So I'm not crossing paths with them. Drug lords aren't looking for you. They're not checking for me at all. They're not checking for me at all. Yeah. They're out. I mean, there's money there though. Some of it is that, right? Some of the money in Mexico City or Mexico in general is cartel money. But I don't know how you would come across it. Has anyone else had great dental care in Mexico? My mom got partial dentures in Lake Chapala at Dental Express. There are two places in the Lake Chapala area that people really like. She liked it. She was satisfied. I think it was so her her money conversion skills are lacking. I'm gonna tell you. But she says she paid 1/5 of what it was going to cost her in the U.S. Yeah, 1/5. Or did she say 1/10? And I said it was probably 1/5 based on her conversion skills. I think she said it was 1/10. I think she said they were going to charge her $4,500 in the U.S. for what she needed, and she said she paid 450, and I said she probably paid 900 based on the conversion, based on what I have seen her do with converting money. All right. Tiffany, who is on YouTube at Where in the Herd is Tiffany. She has a video on, I think she got a tooth extraction. Tiffany lives in Southern California. So she just crossed over the border into what's it called? Tijuana area. She just crossed over the border and got something done in Mexico. So she details her whole thing on her YouTube video. So if you go to Where in the Herd is Tiffany, you'll see her video. Yeah. Any place. Hi, Simi. Any place in the U.S. you can move. Let me see if I can find your question here. Any place in the U.S. that would be decent, not too bad, as a home base for someone who can't move permanently or not ready financially. It depends on the budget. So get the Work From Anywhere toolkit, seriously, and you will see the calculators that tell you what places cost, right? We link to a couple of different cost of living calculators in the Work From Anywhere toolkit. So I would say start with the budget. And then if you're talking home base, I would also look at where you want to fly out of. So like if you're flying from West Coast USA, your options are going to be different than if you're flying from East Coast USA, right? Flying from East Coast, you can get not only to Mexico and Central America and parts of South America within 5 or 6 hours. You can also get to Europe in 5 or 6 hours. Whereas if you're on the West Coast, that's a different proposition. So if you need to be able to come back and forth, look at the cost of living calculator. Look on the map and see what, if you have a 6 hour, I have a 6 hour flight radius, right? I need to be able to get back into either Baltimore Airport or New York JFK or one of the airports in New York within 6 hours, right? Which is why the Caribbean is good for me. Central America is good for me. Mexico is good for me. And that Western strip of Europe, right? Spain, Portugal, the UK, right? So yeah, so if you're looking to set up a home base someplace, that means that you need to be able to fly back and forth. Those are the two things I would start with, Simi. And I would get the Work From Anywhere toolkit, then look at those cost of living calculators, right? Figure out how much you have and what you need your cost of living to be. Start there. That's how I would start the research. My list, right? I name my list off all the time. Southern Portugal, like Lisbon, Portugal. Mexico, anywhere in Mexico, basically, I can get back to the U.S. pretty quickly. Costa Rica is on my list. Curacao has fallen down on my list, so it's easy to get back and forth. There are direct flights from We didn't fly direct. We flew with a layover in Miami, but there are direct flights from Curacao to DC or New York. I can't remember now. Somewhere, one of the airports, right? You can get back direct in less than 6 hours, in 5 hours. Might have been less than that, 4 hours. Might be 4 hours, right? But those are my requirements. So you need to write down your requirements and then see who fits it. Those cost of living calculators are really helpful in determining what fits your criteria. But you have to know your own criteria. But if I would assume for most people, cost of living is the first priority. Also, my priority, I don't want to experience winter weather. So some places I would never, right? Yes, so I can fly to London really quickly. I would never want that to be my home base. I don't want to experience that, right? Even though they don't get the same extreme winter weather that we get here in Delaware. They get close. I don't want gray weather all December, January, February. I could stay home for that. So you need to, yeah, okay, see me. Okay. All right, I've answered it. Okay, yeah, that's what I would start with. A lot of Mexico. So I think most people will find a lot of Mexico is going to fit the bill for them. If you want the beach, people really like the Playa del Carmen area. I've not been there. When we go for our meetup, this will be my first time in the Yucatan Peninsula ever. So people like that part of Mexico, from Playa del Carmen to Cancun. I don't know which is north and which is south. Cancun is probably north of Playa del Carmen. I'm not sure, right? People really like that area. If you could stand heat and not the beach, people like Merida. If you like a small city with like access to shopping, but not a whole lot to do, a quiet place and close to a really cute town, people like Querétaro, Mexico. Querétaro is very close to San Miguel de Allende. San Miguel is a beautiful little town. It's a very Mexican town. Now, it has a lot of Americans and Canadians in it, but it's a very Mexican-looking town. And then, of course, Mexico City, one of the citiest cities in the whole world. I've decided that Mexico City and Tokyo, you're probably not going to get much better, but Tokyo is way more expensive than Mexico City. I've decided that those two are the citiest cities in the world, right? You're probably not going to have a better experience than either one of those cities. But they have their downsides, right? Rashida's not breathing well this week because of the air in Mexico City. Tokyo is very expensive. Tokyo is far, unless you live on the West Coast. I don't know how far Tokyo is if you live on the West Coast. I'm going to have to look that up when we're finished. Might be a really good choice for West Coasters who don't care about money. Yeah, that's how I work through the process of figuring out. And then just try it. Like, seriously, get you a good flight deal and go somewhere and try it. Right? We don't have to nail this because you're not going to go there and pour cement around your feet. You don't have to nail that answer. You don't. If you get somewhere and you like it, good. If you don't like it, try someplace else. Yes. Yes. My list exactly. Charlie, hello. My list exactly. Which is why I'm still keeping Portugal up on the list, even though I know that it's going to be more complicated with the residency situation because you have to stay in Portugal once you get residency. I think Portugal is probably the best situation for me in terms of men. Costa Rica is probably going to be way much more of a challenge, right? Yeah, right. I agree with that. Right? You come up with your priorities and your criteria. San Miguel de Allende is much more expensive than it was. Yes, expats have driven up the price. Americans and Canadians have driven up the price, and other Mexicans who live there. I don't know if they do that. In Lake Chapala, Mexico, a lot of the people who live there part-time are also Mexicans, right? They're rich Mexicans go to Lake Chapala, Mexico as well. So that's right. Cost of living ain't what it used to be in those places. Yeah. Maria, what are my thoughts on learning the language of your new home? Some people say English is the universal language. I disagree. So you need to be able to communicate with people, right? But you don't have to be able to communicate with people before you move there. My thoughts are learn the language, but you can learn it after you get there. Yeah. You can learn it after you get there. You can use translation apps. You can use Google Translate to do a lot until you get there, right? Start on Babbel or Duolingo or something. If you have no knowledge of the language, start before you go. But you don't need to put off your move abroad until you learn the language. You're gonna learn it easier once you get there, right? I can't think of a good example of a time when you do something at home and it would have been easier if you just waited until you got there. But seriously, learning the language is easier if you just wait until you get there. You're going to be able to afford a tutor. You might be able to afford your own tutor, right? And you're just going to be hearing it in daily life, and it's going to be on the TV every time you turn on TV. So I think my thoughts on this are start where you are now, but don't put off your move abroad until you get there. One of the ways that we show goodwill to people when we go places, one of the ways that we show people I'm not here to exploit and to colonize is by learning their language, right? A thing that colonizers do is they go to places and don't bother to learn the people's language. So what we do to make sure that we are showing goodwill to people when we go these places and not be exploitative, one of the things that we do is that we learn the language. So we do that. But don't put off your move. Like seriously, don't put off your move to learn the language. You learn it once you can learn. It's going to be so much easier once you get there. I wish I had a good example of something that we do that's just easier later. But that's probably the only best example. Like my mom and I were talking about before we go to Mexico, do we go get a pedicure or do we just wait till we get there when the pedicure is cheaper, right? And when we have free time. We have free time now because we retired, but we were just talking about that the other day, right? Would it be easier just to get it there? Language is another thing. Might be easier just to do it there. Okay, I think we nailed it. Okay, one more. How do airlines classify passengers as plus size? Oh, how wide are the economy seats? Are they for someone who's a size 6? So airlines vary country to country. They have, or airline to airline. They have a different, no, not even airline to airline, flight to flight, plane to plane. So I look up the seat width for your flight, for any flight. They'll tell you what the seat width is. I struggled. So I flew around Southeast Asia as a size 18. It was really uncomfortable. Those flights on those airlines were awful. Like not, and I'm 5'9" and change. And the seats, it wasn't just like my knees were touching the seats. It was like I had to keep my legs wide open, and it was like there was 4 inches too little space for me at 5'9". I'm not a giant, right? Like it was just pressing in my knees. The seat armrests were, if I had a flight where the armrest raised, I was probably okay. But if the armrests don't raise, like I'm just, you know how some of them are that whole section. Very uncomfortable. But this is something that you can find airline to airline and sometimes flight to flight. I Googled it, right? So I started Googling it. I flew like Jetstar, I think is an airline in Southeast Asia, and somebody else, right? How do I find an airline that has bigger seats? Fat Girls Traveling is a Facebook group run by Annette Richmond, and this is a place where you can find it's like a repository of that info. It's not only a Facebook group, it's also a website, right, where you can find information on airlines and stuff around the world. So I never, I probably have only had I've never had that problem flying in and out of Mexico, but mostly I flew Interjet, which has gone out of business, who I loved. I loved Interjet Airlines. I've flown, what is it, American and the one out of Houston, United. I've flown them plenty of times in and out of Mexico. I've flown Aeromexico. Yeah, Southeast Asia, I think, is the only place where I just did not fit in that seat. And it was not it was a terrible experience. Good news is I didn't fly a whole lot in Southeast Asia. Mostly I took buses, trains, ferries, not trains. Yeah, I took trains, buses, trains, and ferries places. But Fat Girls Traveling is a resource that will be able to give you the info on airlines, specific airline sizing, seat things, seat configurations. But yeah, I used to look it up, right? And it would be like the seat width on this flight is 25 inches. The seat width on this airline is 26 inches. Okay, so I'm gonna book with the one that has the bigger, even if it's only 1 inch difference, I'm gonna book with the airline that has the bigger seats. Myra, is the work from anywhere toolkit update automatic with higher prices or the dates? We link to the resources in the toolkit, and yes, those resources, they update. Yes. The cost of living calculators update. Yes. 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 Annette Richmond is the creator or founder of Fat Girls Traveling. It's a wonderful space, a wonderful resource, right? If you need to make extra, if you have to think of extra steps before you travel because of the size of your body, this is a resource for you, right? I'm a person who has Googled what size are the seats on this airline. That is a resource for me. Or like, do I need to bring a seat extender, right? That is a resource. Fat Girls Traveling is a resource. If you have to take an extra step or two, check her out. Join her Facebook group and go to her website, Fat Girls Traveling. Wonderful, wonderfully helpful place. Smashing people together for gain. Yes. So in Southeast Asia, I'm a very large person, right? Yeah. And it showed. You would have thought I was a giant, seriously, getting on flights in Southeast Asia. I probably only flew 4 times. I flew to Bali and back. And I flew from Vietnam over to Malaysia or somewhere. I flew a handful of times, but lordy do. It was excruciating. Excruciating. I'm talking about hours of excruciating pain in a seat that is just too small for me. But that's the only place I've had that. I've flown, like I said, that's the only place I've had it that much of a problem. Yeah. Okay, so if that's your biggest concern, this is a community. Fat Girls Traveling is a community where you can get extra support, right? Get extra answers to questions. I think the seatbelt extender question, when her group was new, it surprised me how many people were afraid to ask for a seatbelt extender on the flight. And I feel like she has totally alleviated that within the group, which is thousands and thousands and thousands of members. She has totally alleviated that fear. If she's done nothing else in this world, there are fat women who are able to get on a flight now and say, hello, I need a seatbelt extender, who before were afraid to do it, embarrassed to do it, crying about it, not booking flights because they're too embarrassed to ask for a seatbelt extender. Now getting on flights, sitting down, booking with airlines that do have a traveler of size policy, right? Airlines have a traveler of size policy. Some airlines will give you 2 seats, right? Southwest Airlines in particular, right? Who now are traveling and living their travel dreams because she created that space where they can talk about these things and ask and answer questions. She's the magic of the internet, right? So we started off today talking about everybody gets a voice on the internet. She's why that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Yeah. We share that kind of information, and that's one of the resources. It's called Fat Girls Traveling. And like I said, it's a Facebook group and a website. And, follow her on Instagram as well. If you just want to see fat girls living their lives, living their dreams, follow that Instagram account as well, Fat Girls Traveling. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place on the internet. It's a wonderful place on the internet. Probably. Does she have her own YouTube channel? I'm going to look her up. But probably, because that's her business. I don't know. I don't think I knew that she had a YouTube channel. I'm going to look her up real quick. That's her. Has she put up any videos? Videos. Yeah, she's got videos on there. Hey. I didn't know that. That's her. All right. I would say her website is probably going to be more helpful right now. But subscribe to her channel. She looks like she's rebooting it, retooling it recently. She's got 2 videos up in the last month. All right, yes, that's her. That's Annette Richmond. Good. Okay. Good. So you can buy seatbelt extenders, but the airline would prefer that you use theirs for safety reasons, for safety purposes. And you just ask. Flight attendants are your friends. They're there to help you. Okay? They're there to help you. You just ask, hey, I need a seatbelt extender. So yes, so that was that is what I learned from her group, that there were people who were just so afraid to do it that they just wouldn't fly, or that they would bring their own or whatever. You can just, that is what the flight attendant is there to do, right? To make sure that you are safe on that flight. And part of being safe on that flight is making sure that this seatbelt is secure. And part of that secure seatbelt process is a seatbelt extender. That's what they're there for. And every woman, I mean, like the joy that you saw in that group when it was brand new. This is an old conversation now for them. They're past this now. I don't know. They get new members though, so maybe not. But the joy that I saw in that group from women saying, you don't know how long it's been since I booked a flight because I was afraid of those few seconds, right? I was so afraid of those few seconds that I have not flown anywhere in years. Oh, this is me on vacation. Hey, this is me. I flew to Alaska. You know what I'm saying? There is some power in talking your thing that you think is shameful or that you feel shame about. There is power in saying that thing out loud and forming community with other people. I've seen it. I've seen it, right? So, yeah, it's their job. It's their job. But you know what? I've been afraid to ask people for things too, right? I've been afraid to ask people for things too, that they were there to give me. One time I had a professor. I missed the first day of class because I don't think I was in the class. I don't think I was registered for the class. I come in the next day and he's talking and he asked me a question, instead of me saying out loud, remember I wasn't here on the first day. I haven't done the reading. I don't know what I said. And he was like, wait, do you have the thing? Do you have the handout? Let me give you the handout. Like, why didn't you just say, I don't have the handout? Like, this class we're 30 minutes in on this class. Why didn't you just say, I don't have the handout, right? We've all been there. We've all done it. And his job is to teach me things and make sure that I have the materials I needed, right? We've all done it. We've all done it. Okay. Okay. Patreon. The Patreon. Thanks for asking, Wendy. Hi, Wendy. The Patreon is patreon.com/vicarious. The Patreon community here is raising money, putting together money to send a Black woman on sabbatical. The first woman who we picked is Maisha Francis. We want to give her $25,000 for her sabbatical. I think we're at 10. I should know this. I should know this. All right. One of the ways that we contribute to the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund is through Patreon, which is at patreon.com/vicarious. Okay. Another way that we contribute to the fund is through merch. Do you know we have t-shirts? We have merch. So also the merch, which you may be able to see at the bottom of the page on this, or you may be able to see right below me on the video if you're on YouTube, and you may not. I don't know. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. I have a merch shop at vicarious.com/merch. And the money from the merch shop and the money from the Patreon go to the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund to help send a Black woman on sabbatical. Once we get Maisha out, once we send her the money, then we'll be on to the next and the next and the next. All right, so those are two ways that you can support that work. Support the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund to help a Black woman get a sabbatical, take a sabbatical, afford a sabbatical. All right. Okay, did it. Oh, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, thanks, friends, for asking questions. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for taking care of each other in the chat and answering questions that I could not get to. I appreciate you so much. At this point in the video, I always want to tell you what we talk about next week, and I don't remember. I don't remember if we have a guest or if it's just me. But anyway, I hope I'll see you at 10 a.m. Eastern next Saturday. We're coming up on the end of May. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't remember what we're talking about. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so I had a wonderful suggestion to make a t-shirt called Embrace Ease by, now I don't remember who said it. But okay, that'll be coming up sometime soon. I want to find somebody to draw it though, and I don't know, because I can't draw. Make a t-shirt that says Embrace Ease, but make it pretty. Because right now, all of my stuff is just words because I don't have any artistic talent in that regard. Okay. Okay. Oh, would like a meetup with other sisters. So we're doing a meetup in Cancun, Mexico, July 1 through 5. If you're in the Exodus Summit Facebook group, you have gotten info about the meetup. We only have 40 tickets left. So we're going to have 150 Black women in Cancun, Mexico, July 1 through 5, 2022. Yeah. Okay. Yes, so if you join the Discord link is only for women who are patrons. So to join the Discord, you first have to join the Patreon. Or for people, yes, the Discord is for women who are patrons. I said that right. If you're a patron on Patreon, then you'll receive the link to join the Discord community, which is doing today at 2 o'clock Eastern time, they're doing a co-working session. They do co-working and accountability sessions together. I say they because I don't go, but I may go today since it's only an hour and a half away and I do have some work to do today. So I will be in the accountability session as long as I'm right and it's at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll be in today's accountability session too because I have some work I need to do. Yeah, so the Discord community is for women who are patrons on Patreon. All right. We did not decide on an East Coast meetup. I'd like to get a quick meetup before we go to Mexico, but I don't know. As you can see, I'm waiting on somebody to plan it. I'm very clear. I've been very clear that I don't want to plan it. I want somebody to give me a location and a date, and then I'll just be there. I have a car, so I'm in Dover, Delaware. But if you do it within like a 4-hour driving distance of Dover, I'll be there. If it's a time that I can come to, I'll be there. I would love to do another meetup, but I would not love to plan another meetup. Rashida and I right now are planning our thing, our meetup, the Exodus meetup. And so I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the focus or the time to plan one. Okay. Thanks, guys. So nice to see you. You need to seek approval. Okay. Thanks for CJH is behind, is like an hour behind in the chat. I can see your comments popping up. She's talking about the medications. Okay. Nice to see you guys. I'll see you again next Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.